First story of the day. Former One Championship double champion Reinier de Ridder has made a bold prediction about one of the most anticipated possible matchups in the UFC, and it's a take that might surprise many fans. De Ridder, who has trained closely with both Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev, recently shared his thoughts in an interview with MMA Junkie. He believes Dricus has what it takes to not only win, but actually finish Khamzat if they fight at UFC 319. Speaking to MMA Junkie, de Ridder said, "I think Dricus will win. I don't think Khamzat will get him out of there early, and Dricus is a beast. He keeps going and he gets better every round. I see Dricus finishing him in the late rounds like 4th or 5th with a lot of volume. Sure, Khamzat might take him down in the 1st or 2nd round, maybe even get to his back, but Dricus has a good shot." Now that is a huge endorsement from someone who knows both fighters personally. Dricus du Plessis, the current UFC middleweight champion, has been on an incredible run. He recently dethroned Sean Strickland in a hard-fought war where his cardio pressure and toughness were all on full display. Dricus has proven time and again that he can take damage, stay calm under pressure, and come back stronger as the fight goes on. He is not the kind of fighter who breaks. In fact, he thrives in deep waters. On the other hand, Khamzat Chimaev is one of the most feared names in the sport today. His explosiveness, wrestling, and raw aggression in the early rounds have overwhelmed nearly every opponent. However, some fans and analysts have pointed out that Chimaev tends to slow down when dragged into the later rounds, especially against durable fighters who refuse to fold. That is exactly the kind of challenge Dricus brings, according to de Ridder. Even if Khamzat dominates early with his grappling and control, Dricus is unlikely to quit. As the fight moves into rounds 4 and 5, de Ridder sees Dricus turning the tide using pressure and relentless output to wear Khamzat down and possibly secure a late finish. If this fight does get booked for UFC 319, it is shaping up to be a war, a real test of willpower between two rising monsters at middleweight. With a respected voice like Reinier de Ridder backing Dricus, fans have even more reason to get excited. We will keep you posted as this potential showdown develops. Second story of the day. Khabib not happy with Islam Makhachev. It's not every day we see tension even lighthearted between members of the tight Dagestani circle, especially between two longtime friends like Khabib Nurmagomedov and Islam Makhachev. But recently, fans were surprised to see Khabib publicly call out Islam for what he sees as a reckless new hobby. We have seen fighters like Donald Cerrone dive into extreme sports during off-seasons, from bull riding to UTV racing. Now Islam Makhachev, the reigning UFC lightweight champion, is chasing his own thrill by dirt, biking through the rugged mountains of Dagestan. He posted a photo recently fully geared up on his bike with the caption, "This is called hard enduro." While fans thought it was cool, adventurous, and a sign of calm before his next title defense, Khabib was not impressed. He reposted the image and wrote a blunt message, "Islam Makhachev, I do not like this." Although it might seem like a joke on the surface, longtime fans know Khabib is extremely protective of Islam, not just as a teammate, but as a brother. He has mentored Islam for years, guided his career, and coached him from the corner. So when Islam takes risks like off-road biking so close to a title fight, it is no surprise Khabib speaks out. While Islam is enjoying the thrill, Khabib has been focused on a legacy project of his own. The former undefeated champion recently unveiled his new gym in Dagestan, a facility he personally funded with earnings from his historic 2018 victory over Conor McGregor. Speaking about it, Khabib said, "I flew to America, became part of the biggest rivalry in combat sports history, beat someone I did not like, and got paid for it. When I returned home, I invested that money into this beautiful place. The gym is massive, modern, and built to serve young athletes across Dagestan." Even though Khabib admits he might never earn that money back, he says this is about giving back, building something that lasts, and creating opportunities for the next generation. So while Islam tears through mountain trails, Khabib is building an empire back home, training youth, instilling discipline, and preparing future champions. Whether or not Islam gives up his new hobby remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: Khabib is still watching and still leading. A watchful eye. Moving on to another big headline. The MMA community is reacting to the latest Nate Diaz altercation, and let's be honest, Nate Diaz and chaos go together like gloves in a cage. Whether it was the all-out Strikeforce brawl in Nashville, or the infamous water bottle war with Conor McGregor during UFC 202 Fight Week, Nate has never backed down from confrontation. But his most recent drama is once again lighting up the MMA world. This time it happened in Russia, where Nate is participating in the Russian version of The Ultimate Fighter. While on the show, he found himself in the middle of a heated altercation with Zamkhan Yusupov, a fighter who previously made headlines for nearly choking out Aljamain Sterling in a controversial incident. So what really happened? Nate's longtime teammate and veteran Jake Shields broke it down in a video recap that has since gone viral. According to Shields, everything was normal at first. They were walking out fighters 5 or 6 at a time, nothing wild. Shields said he was talking to John Jones's manager, when suddenly this guy comes up to Nate and starts flashing him, claiming he's a gangster. Nate fires back, and then it happens. A full-blown slap to the face. Yep, Nate slapped him clean, and what did security do? Nothing. Shields continued. The guy spazzed out, Jose popped him in the head, and then the guy tried to act tough again. Turns out this guy has a history of sneaking up and choking people. If I had watched the show, I would have known. Clearly this was a setup for drama and ratings. That last comment hit a nerve because now the MMA community is split. Was it real beef or staged for attention? Social media blew up with takes. Some said this was clearly staged by producers desperate for views. Others argued Nate Diaz always brings real chaos and producers just got lucky. Some fans were just there for the entertainment, calling it better than half the fights in the octagon. As for Nate himself, in true Diaz fashion, he hasn't said a word. No tweet, no interview, no comment. Just silence, and that trademark Stockton smirk. Make no mistake, whether it was staged or spontaneous, Nate Diaz once again reminded everyone who he is. A fighter who lives by his own code with no fear, no filters, and no backing down. And you can bet producers got exactly what they wanted. Headlines, views, and the growing legend of Nate Diaz. Now, on to more news. And this one's heating up fast. Anthony Smith explains why Jon Jones is not afraid of Tom Aspinall. For over a year now, Tom has been chasing a unification bout with the reigning but inactive heavyweight king. After winning the interim belt in dominant fashion, Tom made it clear he wants Jon Jones next, and he wants it now. But as the months go by with no fight, booked fans are starting to ask the obvious. Is Jon ducking Tom? Former title challenger Anthony Smith says absolutely not. Speaking openly, Smith said Jon Jones does not believe he can lose. He sees it as God's will that he is undefeated. Just look at who he has faced. Vitor Belfort, Rashad Evans, Thiago Santos, Alexander Gustafsson, Dominic Reyes. These are some of the most dangerous men in MMA, and even when the fights were close, Jon always found a way. And Smith is not wrong. Jon Jones has one of the greatest resumes in combat sports history. From beating legends like Shogun Rua to handling rising stars and winning brutal wars, he has never folded and has never lost legitimately. Tom Aspinall might be fast, powerful, and deadly on the ground, but Anthony Smith is convinced that none of that intimidates Jon. He might be odd, but scared is not in his vocabulary. So if not fear, what is the holdup? Some believe Jon is waiting for Stipe Miocic, the original fight that was planned before injuries delayed it. Others think Jon only wants legacy fights and doesn't care about interim titles or rising contenders. Then there are those who feel he has done it all and owes nothing to anyone. Still, the public perception continues to shift. Tom Aspinall is making noise, knocking people out and calling Jon out in every interview. And the longer Jon stays silent, the louder the whispers grow. But if you ask Anthony Smith or anyone who has shared the cage with Jon, they will all say the same thing. You might not like Jon Jones, You might think he is arrogant, but scared he is not. He does not even understand the word. That is what makes this possible fight so compelling. When a rising beast like Aspinall meets a living legend like Jon Jones, one aura has to break. Will it be the old king or the new lion? Only time and the UFC matchmakers will tell. To the seemingly endless wait for Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, Robert Whittaker says what many in the MMA world are thinking. Honestly, who even cares anymore? That is what he told the media during a recent interview, and he did not stop there. I am done. It is like waiting for Elder Scrolls 6. You just have to play something else, man. In classic Whittaker fashion, he dropped a pop culture reference that hit home. Waiting for Jon Jones to fight Tom Aspinall has become the MMA version of waiting for a video game that keeps getting delayed, promised, but never delivered. At first, the hype was real. After beating Cyril Gane in under 3 minutes to become heavyweight champion, Jon Jones was booked to fight Stipe Miocic, a clash of legends. But injuries, setbacks, and endless negotiations have left fans in limbo. Meanwhile, Tom Aspinall stepped up and claimed the interim heavyweight belt with a brutal knockout over Sergey Pavlovich. Since then, silence. And for fighters like Whittaker, it has become a running joke. People keep poking Jon for interviews and sound bites. It is more annoying than helpful. He added, "How does he still hold the title?" At first I said no one is tripping. Jon, but mate, come on, you are taking the piss. Tom has not fought in almost a year. Let us move on. Whittaker's words echo what many fans feel. The division is frozen. Fighters are aging. Momentum is being lost. The UFC is supposed to be about movement and big moments. But when the heavyweight belt just sits, while the best in the world are left chasing interim titles, it causes confusion and frustration. Robert Whittaker knows delays. He has lived cancellations and fight politics. He is not saying Jon Jones is not the greatest. He is not saying Tom does not deserve his shot. He is just saying the show must go on. Whether that means stripping the belt, forcing a unification, or just admitting the fight is not going to happen. Whittaker wants clarity, and he is not alone. Time keeps ticking, and unless something changes soon, fans and fighters alike might stop caring altogether. Because in MMA, if you wait too long, someone else becomes the main event. And finally, this might be the biggest twist in the UFC storyline. Right now, Islam Makhachev has accepted Ilia Topuria's challenge at 170 pounds. That is right. The lightweight king is officially open to facing the newly crowned featherweight champion, but not at lightweight. At welterweight, let us rewind. Ever since Ilia's brother Alex Topuria dropped the bomb that Ilia wants to chase Islam Makhachev at 170, the MMA world has been buzzing. Fans, analysts, and fighters started asking, is this real? Could we actually see Ilia versus Islam at welterweight? Now we have the answer. Islam was recently asked about the call-out during a media scrum, and his response sent shockwaves through the community. Yeah, I heard what Ilia said. If he keeps winning and I clean out the division like I plan to, why not? I am open to it at 170. That was not a polite deflection. That was a message. Loud and clear. Islam Makhachev is not brushing Ilia off. He is not laughing. He is leaning in. He is building hype and planning ahead. That tells us something big. Islam may be considering a long-term move to welterweight. For months, people have talked about Islam eventually moving up. He already defended his lightweight title successfully against Alexander Volkanovski. If he beats Jack Della Maddalena, who recently stepped in for UFC 308, that would be his breakout win at 170 pounds. Meanwhile, Ilia Topuria is set to defend his featherweight title against Charles Oliveira, a former lightweight champion and Islam's most dominant win to date. If Ilia takes out Charles, he will have beaten 2 generations of elite fighters. At that point, the next logical step is a super fight. Ilia versus Islam at 170 would be historic. 2 dominant champions. Different divisions, both undefeated in the UFC, both at their peak. It would be more than a belt. It would be about pride, skill, legacy, and dominance. The UFC would love this. 2 stars, 2 countries, 2 fighting styles. Islam is a close friend and protege of Khabib Nurmagomedov. Ilya represents Spain and Georgia with pride. This is an international blockbuster waiting to happen, but Islam made one thing clear. He is not skipping the line. First, he wants to handle his business at lightweight and welterweight. He is not chasing names. He is chasing dominance. Still, he left the door wide open. If he is still there, I will be there too. Now the stage is set. The countdown begins. All eyes are on two dynasties rising fast. Two champions, one potential clash that could reshape the pound-for-pound rankings forever. Ilya Topuria versus Islam.
If you enjoy our videos, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it.